Yeah, we're live.
Hello and welcome to the Boxed In Podcast.
It's the unboxing podcast.
Whatever, the Boxed In Show for the Unboxing Podcast. My name is Alex O'Connor, and this is
Jacob Klag.
I was going to introduce you.
No, thank you.
And if you want to talk with us, you can contact us at marklarsmarklarmusic at gmail.com. That is marklarsmarklarmusic at gmail.com.
MarklarsMarklar music at gmail.com.
It's almost like Mississippi.
MISSIPPV.
You fucked that up
I did.
royally. Anyway, we are
Two dudes making a podcast. Just another two dudes dropping a pod. In a sea of two dudes making a podcast. How will these two dudes ever survive? The absurdity.
Yeah, we did it. We did it, fellas.
What a success.
Fucking pheasants.
Pheasants?
Yeah, whatever. The F rolled off the tongue.
What do you have for us today?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about something. About a couple things.
Okay.
One of those things I want to talk to you about is, and I know I've mentioned this before, I will be very careful to not divulge too much information. But
Okay.
recently, I was audited at work.
Oh.
Yeah, not like personally audited.
No,
but
like
the business itself was audited. It's something that happens yearly. It's a normal thing, blah, 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 for compliance and all this bullshit. And, they're just making sure all your certifications that you have are coming correct.
Okay.
Like you're doing what you say you're doing and what everybody else assumes you're doing because you say you're doing it. Now, it's awful. let me get that out of the way. It's the worst thing ever. Because it's literally just means like, okay, now somebody will come and take a week of your time and you now have to babysit that person and find everything that they need, any kind of document, explain it, walk them around, show them whatever they want to, you know what I mean? You're literally just with that person 8 hours a day for like a fucking week. And, the problem is you can't do anything else during that time until it's lunchtime and you can sneak away and quietly eat whatever food you've paid the auditor, because you also have to provide food while they're there and their lodging, by the way. Doesn't this sound like a scam? Hey, let's come and make sure you're doing the right thing. Pay us to get there, pay us to be there, pay us to eat there, and we'll tell you if you're doing it right.
Sounds like if I wanted to perpetually go on vacation, I think that's exactly what I would set up.
That sounds about right. Now, I will give them the benefit because it's not a great job for the auditor either. That also sucks. You're just sitting there going over things, making sure you don't screw anything up, you know what I mean? Making sure everything's done right. But the exciting part about my most recent one is not only was I being audited, but we also got a notice before this happened that they were being audited.
The auditors being audited?
The auditors were being audited while auditing me. So what that means is, because, of course, if I'm being audited, you need to make sure the people who are auditing these businesses are auditing correctly. So how do they decide that? Well, they send another auditor to audit the auditor.
Now does that mean... You know what? Go ahead and keep going, because it might do what I think it's going to do.
So one of the questions for me when I hear this is, well, who audits the auditor auditing the auditor? I have no idea, but I guess they audit each other is kind of what I decided. Is that like, oh, well, they'll switch off? It still seems a little weird, but whatever.
You sunk my 1099.
Yeah. Right. So the extra weird part is that now means that your auditor is being watched while you are being watched by him. So this escalates things a bit. Because one, in a normal situation, let's say you got the best auditor in the world. They're probably going to miss a few things. Or if they see something, like, they'll just be like, hey, like, just be like, you need to make sure this gets to me by this time. Wink. You know what I mean? Like, Like, we can't see this, but maybe you can run away while I'm doing this thing and quickly download whatever you need to do and put it up. You know what I mean? Like, that can't happen with another auditor, because that auditor is watching for your winks.
So now there's no easy going.
There's no easy going because not only are you stressed because you're being audited, but your auditor's stressed because he's being audited. So he's in the same situation. And what that also means is, well, you're also paying for another auditor.
That's what I was going to
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, thankfully, we're not paying for that other auditor's hotel stay and travel. But like, what are we not going to buy him lunch when we're already buying the other guy lunch? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do? You'd be like, no. You got to pay for him. We'll pay for you. You know, like,
yes.
No.
That's how that should work.
Yes, okay, sure, it's
if
how
I
it
gotta
should.
pay for
but
you,
that's not how it do work, because that's shitty.
But that means that, like, if maybe they just set up auditors to audit auditors when it's like,
all a big fucking scam.
These guys, by the way, usually are pretty nice about their lodging and their food and everything. This is a nice town. Hey, you want to come along? Maybe audit me while I audit them?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get out there.
It'd be like Kyle MacLachlan in Twin Peaks, where he's like, I really like Twin Peaks.
Yep.
I think I'm going to buy a house here.
Come on, Albert. We're going to Twin Peaks. So it's also fun because that other auditor is only auditing my auditor. That auditor can have no interaction with us. He can't audit what that auditor is saying to us. He can only audit secretly what's going on here. So there's just now a third party that's no help to anybody. Also sitting on a computer, maybe paying attention.
Are you supposed to pay them any attention? Or are
No.
you supposed to pretend like they're not there at all?
You're basically supposed to pretend like they're not there at all. It's not ridiculous to the point where you can't talk to each other. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not like draconian in the sense where it's like, pretend I'm not here. Like, it's none of that. But it's just a very awkward situation where you have to sit there and I'm going to exaggerate this. You have to sit there and be yelled at, for not doing your job while somebody else is potentially in the back of their head realizing they're being yelled at for not doing their job right. So while there's this other third, it's basically a voyeur situation. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, look, I'm gonna hang out in the closet, you guys fuck over here,
I'm gonna stay through the keyhole,
pretend I'm not here. That's what I want.
So you're like, so one of the auditors
you
is
might
like a
still,
cuckold?
Yes,
He's
exactly.
like an auditing cuckold?
Yes, exactly.
So he's like, he can only get off when he sees other people being audited?
Correct, yeah. So
while he watches.
That's basically the situation that's happening here. So that was last month, and that was awful and terrible, and it sucked. But I got through it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But what I want to bring up is when you have audits, issues that come up in an audit that are escalated to a certain amount are called non-conformances.
Uh-huh.
All right? This means you are not conforming with your certifications, your compliance, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I just like the title.
No, it's great. Now, what you have to do is you have to fix those non-conformances. If it's a minor non-conformance, you have basically until the next year's audit to make sure, hey, I did it. Yeah, I fixed it, blah, blah. If it's a major, you have to do it in like 4 months and send them, whatever documents they need to say, hey, I fixed that thing.
Like if it almost looks like you're cooking the books?
That would be something.
Like it looks like it. No proof, really?
It would more just be like, hey, it says you do this thing and you don't do this thing. Why aren't you doing this thing? You know what I mean?
All
like, yeah. So, and minor ones are just like, hey, there's some wiggle room here, but like, maybe you're not doing enough work in this area, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, you have to, for all these minor and major, after a month after the audit, you have to have updated your plan, your nonconformance report to say, so you break it down, here's the issue. Here's what I did to fix the issue. Here's what I'm going to do so that issue never happens again. You know what I mean? So it's broken down like that.
I don't like how it sounds like your mom made you write essays.
When
you got in trouble.
We've only just begun.
All right.
So that's the basic is what you have to, they tell you what the issue is. Then you have to come and say, here's what I did, or here's what the issue, okay. So what you have to do from that point is you have to make a corrective action report.
Okay.
All right. Now, it used to be a corrective action, preventative action report, which I liked better because you could call them CAPAs. Corrective action, preventative action. So it was a Kappa. Yeah. Japanese water demon. Kappa. And but they got rid of preventative action, even though it's still used for that. It's just not called that anymore. So now it's a KA report. I don't like that as much.
It's lame.
KA. Yeah. Corrective action. Anyway, so you have to write up this whole report, and this has to be, sent to them. But so the basics of this report are, they give you the issue, and here are the documents that state where that issue is. So it's like, here's the document that states it needs to be done this way, and it wasn't done. You know what I mean? So it gives you the stuff so you can look it up if you didn't know it, blah, blah, whatever. And then you have to then come back and say, okay, here's the issue. Here's the investigation I completed for the issue. So you have to specify, I looked at this document, I reviewed this document, I did this. That's what I did to investigate. Now you have to put, what issues you also found during this investigation. And what did you do to fix the immediate issue of that corrective action? And then you now need to do a root cause analysis.
God.
Now, do you know what a root
How are you still walking?
Yeah.
Like, how is it you're not 6 feet under?
Do you know what a root cause analysis is?
I know what the square root of something is.
Okay, so
the root cause. So, like, what? You just wrote, oh, I fucked up. Is that what you do? Sorry, I fucked up.
So here's the thing.
What's the root cause? Well, I'm human, and there are things that fall through the crack. Is that good enough?
No. And here's the thing, because specifically, root cause analysis is a term. It is not tell me what the root cause of the situation is. It is the root cause analysis.
Of course you don't take it literally.
Because what that means is you now have to do something called the 5 whys.
What fucking what? What the fuck is this?
The 5 whys, Klag. Now,
the thing, it's no longer Kappa, and now you got 5 whys.
Now, the 5 whys are the basic stipulation of this is that within 5 steps, you need to have found the root cause of the issue.
Oh, it's the word why.
Yes, the 5 whys.
Oh,
W-H-Y.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to have, within 5 whys, you need to have found the root cause of the issue.
Jesus, look, are you a fucking elementary school kid?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what this feels like.
Yeah, it does. Kind of feels like you're a baby dad.
Yeah.
And so the 5 whys, again, when they ask for a root cause analysis, now let's pick something. What's something you haven't taken care of that you should have recently?
Cleaning the bathrooms.
Cleaning the bathroom. Okay. So the non-conformance, the bathrooms are not clean. It is stipulated in your certifications that the bathroom should be clean.
That is true.
Okay, so what investigation?
Well, I noticed there was shit on the toilet.
Yeah, boom. That's good. I looked at the bathroom. I looked at it. It was dirty. Now, before the 5 whys, we must stipulate the issue again. So what is the issue? The issue is the bathroom is dirty. Yeah. Now, no. The issue is not there's shit on the toilet. That's not the issue. The issue is the bathroom is dirty.
Okay.
Why?
Because I didn't clean it.
No.
That's not good enough.
That's incorrect. Why? Why is the bathroom not clean? Because there's shit on the toilet. Why is there shit on the toilet?
Because I missed.
Yes, because I missed.
Because there was a failing.
Because
there was a failing in this bipedal creation by whatever forces in the outskirts of time
Incorrect.
that make it so that when you go to excrete after having consumed, there may be splatter.
Incorrect.
They have not perfected it to the creation that humanity came to, all in abundance of societal norming the bowl that we all sit upon.
Now, how does that fix the problem? Your first why was there's shit on the toilet. Your second why, I missed. Third why did you miss?
I just explained.
Third why, no, you did not. Third why, why'd you miss? You were tired. Fourth why. Why were you tired? I didn't get enough sleep last night.
Hold on.
I didn't get enough sleep last night. 5 why. I make bad decisions. No. Root cause analysis. Why is the bathroom dirty? I make bad decisions.
So wait, so
now
the 5 whys forces you to question every reason.
every single reason.
To the point that you just go. So it's like a child asking, "But why?"
Yes.
Except that it's
Yes.
Except that it's your teacher asking, "Why didn't you do your homework?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I didn't. Well, because I played video games. Right, but why did you play video games instead of do your homework?
Because I hate my life.
Well, I
Why
guess
do you hate
'cause
your life? Because my parents beat me. Why do my parents beat me? Because they hate their life.
I procrastinated. Why do you procrastinate? Well, I'm 13. Why are you 13? Because I was born
13 years ago. Yeah.
12 years and 12 months ago.
Yeah. Why were you born 12 years and 12 months ago?
Because my parents fucked in the back
9
of a
months
Chevy.
before that. Yeah. Why did they fuck 9 months before that? Because they were horny.
Because
Why
they
were
also make
horny?
bad decisions.
Because they were teenagers. Why were they teenagers? Yeah. So
Jesus.
So that's the thing with the fucking 5 whys and the annoying thing, because you want it's both genius and fucking awful.
I see it working perfectly well with the average person who they're probably auditing. That's who they made this for, because it forces introspection.
Yes.
But if you're already introspective, the first answer is probably as close to the root cause as you can possibly.
Now, so like that's the thing, is because the reason for the root cause analysis is so that you really get to the bottom and figure out why you didn't do this thing. Like, let's say, somebody didn't have training. Why didn't they have training?
Well, because we're lazy.
Because they didn't take it.
Because we don't allocate resources properly.
Here's how it it should be. They didn't have it. Why didn't they have it? They didn't take it. Why didn't they didn't take it? I didn't offer it to him. Why didn't you offer it to him? Because I wasn't paying attention to the training that they had. Why weren't you paying attention to the training that you had? Because I didn't have enough time. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's supposed to be, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's because really it should be, I didn't have enough time. So what your plan of action should not be get that person training. Your plan of action should be hire somebody else so I have more time to do the things I'm supposed to do. You know, like, so that does make sense.
But they're never going to do that.
No, of course not.
That costs too much money.
Yeah.
So why don't you just?
If we were going to do that, we would have done that already.
Why is the answer to the failure is, well, we don't have a guy who does that? Like every single time. We don't have a guy whose specific job is to make it so that things don't go wrong.
It could be, but then you're going to get fucking fucked next year when you didn't hire somebody. You know what I mean? Because you also have to think about the fact that next year it has to be fixed.
Well, then this just makes it so that you've created a system where all you're going to do is make up the easiest solution.
Yeah.
Well, then fucking why even bother having it in the first place?
They also have to approve it, so you have to play the game enough to make them believe that.
Yeah, but like just smart enough.
Yeah.
So you just have to be smart enough while wasting everybody's fucking time. So really the only reason that they're there is to make it so that they justify the fact they have a fucking job in the goddamn first place.
Yes. Yeah, so like literally, but here's the fucking thing, is that most of the problems is, why didn't you do this? Is I just fucking didn't.
Well, I just didn't.
Why didn't you?
That's pretty much the answer, because I didn't really care. Because I don't really care. Because I have a job, I don't really care. You pay me enough to make it so that I'm happy, but I really don't care whether this place succeeds or not.
Well,
because none of your employees do ever, except for
only to
when
the extent that they can be the person that they are. Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, what level of delusion do you expect of your fucking employees?
That's my problem, is that what this does is it creates the delusion that anyone cares.
And nobody does.
And nobody does.
Why are we pretending?
Because we have to.
That's so fucking stupid.
And all that means is more work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means more work for me and more reason for me to get angry.
Because
literally, the reason we didn't do it, we were busy. We didn't do it. Did I know I had to do it? Yeah.
Every asshole who shows up and forces the justification of the bureaucratic nonsense that they're going to partake in, every one of those people makes more bureaucratic nonsense by having had partaken in the bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you being, I have this job, so I justify my position, just creates more people exactly like that.
So here's the thing for that. Now, again, I have to be very careful with this, so I cannot name any names.
You haven't.
Anything specific. Oh, no, I know, but this specifically. So one of the non-conformances I had.
Bad.
Yeah. Was we didn't have testing records for certain items.
Oh, boo-hoo.
No, I mean, no, that makes sense because we are somebody who is a reseller and we also scrap and recycle. You want to, so what?
Everybody already knows who you are now. I'm kidding.
No, there's a lot of those.
There are.
But the point is, so like, recycling, important, right? It doesn't matter whether you agree with that. Whatever. I know,
but bust that apart, dude.
But I kind of more like everybody. Like, it doesn't matter. The point is, if you want to recycle.
No, who's the guy right now? He's like, recycling's not important now.
Yeah. Well,
it's never important. Well,
Some
like,
people.
I can understand the person who's going,
recycling isn't
look,
working.
I mean, we say recycling's important, but we all know that really we got a bunch of really tired people working on conveyor belts who have to go, well, they didn't really rinse out that jar of peanut butter, so I'm not even going to bother.
No, correct. No, and that's valid and perfect. But
that means how much water do you waste cleaning items to then recycle them?
How much does that affect?
And the energy that is used for both of those things,
course.
which I never really. I know this is an aside, and I'll try to not go too far with it, but I never really understood the whole idea of like wasting water because they taught us about the water cycle. So they say you're wasting water, but what they're actually saying is you're wasting energy.
Yes,
but they don't pose it to you that way, so you think that somehow the water never comes back. And I almost think that that's like purposeful, like to teach you a thing that's incorrect. I think they teach you incorrect things on purpose all the time because it's close enough to the reality.
Yeah, of course.
But they
100%,
they always dumb shit down in a way where they pretend they go, look, we're pretty sure that the average IQ is like 90.
Yeah.
Like that's how they usually talk to the American public.
Yeah.
Is the average IQ is probably about 90. So we need to make it so that. By the way, that's really low. So we got to make it so that everybody can possibly understand this. So let's talk about it in a way that's both pedantic and also way too simplified.
Yeah, so it screws
so that
over
it makes it
everybody.
sound like we know what we're talking about, and also make it seem like you can trade that information with other people as if you know something when you don't.
Why do you think conspiracies are so big?
Let's carry on with the,
so anyway, so
the thing about recycling.
the
Let's
thing
stick
about
with that.
recycling is, what's the best thing you can do if you're recycling this computer?
I guess take it to a certified location who knows what they're doing with recycling.
You're already thinking too much about it.
Fucking
Resell it. It's the best fucking thing you can do. Make sure it works. Resell it.
Cool, I do that.
Yeah, that's
I didn't know that counted as recycling. I'm
Yeah.
so glad
No.
that secondhand marketing, and also that keeps fucking cash in your local economy
Yes.
instead of going into fucking Walmart's pocket or into another big fucking business that doesn't earn
Yes.
shit for anybody.
Yeah. Well, and the reason that's the best thing is because the longer you can keep it in the field doing what it was supposed to do, the less it's going to spend time, whatever.
So
in
buy
whatever fucking
used
thing.
is also recycling.
Yes, 100%.
Buying used is
Buying
keeping
u-
your
yeah.
local economy up.
It's like going to the shelter and getting a dog that was going to be killed. Basically, you know what I
well,
mean?
that
Like
whole thing.
like that's no, but
We don't
literally
want to start down that rabbit hole.
But that's the best thing.
It's
you
a
can-
dog
yeah.
hole, not a rabbit hole.
But the best thing you can do is keep it in its functional,
Cool.
place, and keep it going for longer.
I actually learned something.
Yeah. So that's the best thing you can do as a recycler. Resell it as it is. Now,
Cool.
the reason why you need testing records and things like that as a reseller who has
Isn't
a
that
lot
just
of
to keep up with the bureaucracy of reselling and
It's-
sticking with things?
it's to prove that what you're selling is working.
Or is it just to make it so it's more difficult to resell things on a mass scale so as not to be competitive against the people selling new shit?
I mean, of course, that's also
fucking
fair. Yeah.
right it is.
But the point is, let's say you resold that and it don't work. What's that person doing?
they're writing a bad review.
Yes, but what's the
One
next thing?
star.
What's the next thing they do? Fucking throw it in the garbage.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
On average.
which is that's the worst thing you can
You'll
do.
make a nice teapot.
Yeah, so that's the worst
Aluminum
thing. Yeah.
casing.
So let's
melts
say
down easy in the
if-
backyard's fire.
if you're doing the best thing you can do by reselling it and trying to keep it in the field, but you didn't test it to make sure it fucking works,
Yeah.
then you're fucking everybody over. Then you can basically what that means is you as a company can say, oh, we're reselling it. We're a zero landfill company, even though you sold a bunch of broken things that all went to the landfill. You don't have to claim to be. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, so it's like there's certain caveats to having that under your title. Like if somebody's
Yes.
going to say that things are organic, it has to fit a narrative of things that are organic under
Yes,
FDA
correct.
law or some shit.
yes. So that's why you need testing records. Now,
Cool.
we have a specific customer who we don't take in their old equipment and then fix it and sell it to other people. We only have their stock, and when something bad goes down, we send them good stock that's their inventory. It's not ours. We don't own it. We're holding it for them. It's like we're warehousing it. So when they have something that goes bad, we send them a good version of it. They send us back the bad one, and then we will fix that to get it back out in the field. Or if it's unfixable, then scrap it, recycle it. You know what I mean? Go through that process.
Okay.
Now, sometimes they send us stuff that is good, tested good, and, correct, whatever. And they just send it to us so that we're holding it, so that they don't have to hold it when something bad goes down. We already have the process, you know what I mean, of sending it out there. So sometimes they'll just be like, here's a bunch of stuff for you to have on hand when our stuff goes bad, so you can send it out to us, because it's already their stuff. And
reserves.
Yeah, if we have it, that means it's not taking up space wherever they have it, and we're already doing that process.
So they're creating their own insurance.
Yeah.
Curious. Okay.
But so when they do that, that stuff is already tested according to their parameters as good. We're not going to test that.
Oh.
Because...
Does this create a hole in the audit?
So we're not going to test it because our customer told us, this is tested good, don't worry about it. And if we were to test it, we'd have to charge them.
Yeah.
Because that takes fucking time.
Right.
And we're not going to do that shit for free. Now, so what this means is we have material that is untested. Even though it is our customers' items, we are holding it for a period of time until they want it back, and we are sending it back to the same customer. So let's say in the case where if it wasn't tested correctly, I mean, whatever, it's the customers. They were going to do that anyway. That should have nothing to do with us. Unfortunately,
it has everything to do with
it. It has everything to do with us. So now I got to figure out how the fuck we deal with that. Because that was fun. We just assumed, no, that's fine. It's their stuff.
What was your answering of the 5 whys for that one?
That's what I'm fucking trying to figure out,
You don't even know yet?
No,
You're on that today.
I mean, the 5 whys of that is I didn't know.
I didn't know.
Like,
why didn't you know?
Well, the 5
why
whys.
didn't do the research?
Okay, 5 whys for that are
I didn't know.
We didn't have testing records. We didn't have no evidence could be found of testing records. First why, we didn't have the testing records. Second why, we didn't think we needed them. Third why, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like third
can't
why.
even grab one right now.
It's just like third why is I guess we didn't review the new standards well enough. Fourth why, still haven't. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like where it's just like, I don't know.
Because I'm bad at my job.
What
do you want from me?
This shouldn't be, because that's the thing. When you get to the 5 why, and, it doesn't have to be all 5. You could end it at 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
No, mandatory 5. Mandatory 5.
But that's
if
the thing.
You're going to call it the 5 whys and then go, well, you can name 2. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's the why column, not the 5 whys
The
column.
point is, you're supposed to do it till you get to the root of the cause.
God, it
And
probably sounds.
The problem is that the root of the cause is that I didn't know.
This sounds like a daytime worksheet when a teacher doesn't want to do anything.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
It's awful. It's fucking awful. It sucks. The 5 fucking whys. Root cause analysis. And again, the real reason is the only reason things don't happen. I was lazy. I didn't know. I didn't want to. That's
Two
it.
of those are the same.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
no,
being
they're
lazy
not.
and not wanting to?
Lazy and
All
not
right,
wanting
fair.
to are different. You know,
All right, yeah, you're right.
Different in the sense that lazy was just like I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. Being
right.
like I actively don't want to
it's
because
a
that's something that like
It's a fair distinction.
I would like. So if I were to test those things, I would have to charge. I would either have to charge my customer or I would have to eat that money.
And then I have to do the
And
paperwork.
I don't want to. Well, no, that's lazy. The I don't want to is that doesn't make good business sense. I don't want to do that.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like
Okay,
so.
that's a justification for it being different than lazy.
Yeah. So, but those are like literally the 3 is just like, I didn't want to. I was lazy. I didn't have the time. And that's it. But they won't fucking accept that. It has to be. It has
is
to be like,
horseshit.
well, I didn't have a notification
That's
on my
fucking horseshit,
calendar.
because that's the
Yeah.
most basic reason. It's like if you were to break
Yeah.
something down
Mhm.
into the real
Yes.
reason,
Yeah.
those are the real reasons.
I
They're
know.
the most honest you can possibly be, and honesty isn't correct. So actually fudging the truth is what everybody wants.
Why don't you let that one marinate?
you have anything else to add on this particular subject? We want to move on?
I could fucking talk forever about this.
I
think I'm mostly done.
Okay, I got one that's infuriating.
But I just wanted to bring that up because fuck.
So I get an email. I get an email from your local fucking gym. Planet Fitness gives you a fucking an email, and they say it's like this whole written out long thing where I'll take some more of that, by the way. It's this whole written out long thing about how they are explaining to you how they have had a rough time for the last year, and it's been rough for all people in the gym and all different people across the gym, like people who have gyms and all this shit, right? Making it sound like they're just another gym. They're just another regular gym.
We're just like
normal.
one of you.
Yeah, we're just like small. And they go, and also
We're
most
small
of our
batch
no,
gym.
they say most of our gyms are owned by franchisees. 95% of our
fuck
gyms are
you.
owned by franchisees, which is small business.
Go fuck
and you got to
yourself.
support small business. That's why you need to quickly follow this link and tell Congress that you support the GYMS Act. The GYMS Act, which is which is $30 billion.
I like it if it's
$30
JIMs.
billion set aside, the GYMS Act, $30 billion
Gyms.
set aside to go to gyms just as a
Gyms
stimulus
across the
as a
nation.
stimulus check. But do you
Does that
know?
include Jimmy's? Sorry.
Do you know what the fuck happened with the original the PPP? The original PPP?
The original PPP? What's the PPP?
Which the payment protection plan or whatever the fuck it was? All the money that
okay, I see.
originally went
I see.
to small business.
Small businesses. It went to big business.
No,
yeah,
it went to
100%.
big business only because of exactly the reason they want you to support the fucking GYMS Act.
Yes.
Because of franchisees. Because they're guaranteed like 25%
Yeah.
of all fucking money from these places.
They're considered small
under the
business.
contracts that go to franchising these things.
Yeah.
So they're guaranteed money under small business.
Yay!
That all goes to big business. That's why they want you to support it. You don't support small people when you support this shit.
No, of course
And they
not.
fucking
Yeah.
dangle them out there. They dangle people who actually need shit out there as
Yeah.
if they're like real leverage for.
Because those franchise owners are small businesses. You know what I mean? Like those, well, by and large, you know what I mean? Those specific people.
Yeah.
And they dangle them out there like fucking fruit when literally all they're doing is paying the big corporation to use their name.
That $30 billion, just take 25% of that, and that goes directly to all big business that are
Right
included
into
in the
big
franchise.
business's asshole.
Yeah, and
Blup,
not to
bup.
mention, and also like what gets taxed on that shit? Because I mean, I'm sure
Almost
that
nothing, right?
I don't know how stimulus bills work, so I should probably just stop with that particular
yeah,
part.
yeah, we
well, because I don't want to speculate on a thing that I like can't actually. But
Speculum.
but as far as franchising, no, like that's clear. That's like clearly how that shit works.
No, very clear. I mean, that's why, that's like, you saw the
25%
founder,
may
right?
even be a small number. It might even be more like 30 or up.
Oh, I would almost guarantee.
But I'm
Because,
just throwing
yeah.
out a number that seemed somewhat reasonable.
Well, I mean, my not my first job, but basically my first job was Quiznos. We've talked about this before. When I was working at Quiznos,
Yeah.
do you know the franchise business that had the highest percentage of suicide rates for the franchise owners? I bet you can guess.
Aspen Dental.
I bet that's now.
Is it Quiznos?
It was fucking
only
Quiznos.
because it's part of the conversation.
In the fucking mid-2000s, it was fucking Quiznos. Because...
Why? I
and
thought they had a better sub.
they do.
Like comparatively to a Subway. Like Subway sucks.
Yeah, they did. But here's the thing. And I know, because again, I was on the fucking inside. All right. As a sandwich artist. That's Subway. But the whole point is, so Quiznos had literally the highest suicide rate of franchise owners compared to all other, like McDonald's.
Is it
and
because of
Wendy's and
how
blah,
they
blah, blah.
franchise?
It's because of how they franchise.
How much fucking money do they take from you?
All of it. Fucking all of it.
What's the percentage? Do you remember?
Well, no, I don't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, you know that there
you
are
don't
no,
make a profit. You
don't-
basically
make
just
no
break
profit.
even.
Yes,
You
because-
always break even.
and that's why Quiznos I felt was better because the ingredients were better. But that's because you could, as a Quiznos franchise owner, you can only buy your items
from their
Quiznos.
distributor. Right. It's
And
just like a
guess what
fucking
they get to do?
MLM, dude.
Jack up the fucking
It's
price
just
to whatever
like an
they want.
MLM.
Yes. So it doesn't matter if the Quiznos are failing; they still have to buy stock at whatever price they decide to put it out for. Now, was it better ingredients? I think so. I worked there for years, and I still ate there. That must mean it's good, right? You know what I mean? But the point is that that's how they fucked over everybody. That's how like Quiznos can fail and still the people who own it become millionaires because they just fucking jack up the prices. So when the franchise owners buy it, big Quiznos, they're done. They don't care if those sell or not. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. They've already got their fucking dollar. And that's why so many franchise owners of Quiznos committed suicide, is because they bought in thinking like, oh, here's a great new business that's coming around and I'm able to get into it relatively cheaply and it looks like it's a good business and people come here, and then you end up losing fucking hemorrhaging money because you can't make the amount like above what they fucking charge you to buy the fucking supplies.
They have all these caveats to the way that you have to adhere to their image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they own you without having to give you any fucking money.
So it begs the question of being like, am I an asshole? Because I hate the fact that I'm put in this position.
Yeah.
Where am I the asshole for not giving a fuck about franchises? Because in a sense,
again, those people are small business
but they
owners.
are, and I care about them as a person.
Exactly.
But their decision making is clearly atrocious.
Clearly.
And yet I'm an asshole for what? Being like, I'm not going to go and eat at the local Pizza Hut. I know it's a franchise.
Yeah.
I'm not going to support this bill that is going to pocket money directly into another asshole CEO's fucking account. And also, like, I'm aware, I worked at the first Planet Fitness.
Yeah. That's the
in
one
Dover,
in
New
Dover,
Hampshire.
yeah.
I worked at the first Planet Fitness and know a little bit too much about how the people who own Planet Fitness used to behave and used to do different things, and how they just don't fucking care, because nobody fucking cares.
No one cares ever.
Once you have a certain amount of money, you don't fucking care.
Yeah.
It just, you act like it, you pretend, but you're no longer like everybody else. So you can't.
You
it's
are
almost
above.
an incapability.
Yeah. No, I mean,
You're
I've
incapable
literally
of
done
knowing.
studies about that, where it's like as soon as you make over a certain amount, you lose all feeling for everybody below that point. And
I lost all feeling and I don't have anything.
well, yeah, but that comes from
I think that's different.
yeah, it is, because the losing all feeling comes from the fact that
Other than anger.
if you made all the money,
Yeah.
would you feel you were lucky or that you earned it?
It's so fucking hard. It depends. How am I making the money?
It doesn't matter.
Is it arms dealing? Then I earned it.
I could say right now you did it by winning the lottery.
Oh, yeah?
And you would still say you earned it. You know what I mean? Like not, you know what I mean? Not
I
you
don't know if that's-
necessarily.
look,
and I don't
some
mean
people
you.
might.
I mean most people.
But then,
because the earned it would be like I hung in there and I kept going
also gotta take
and
into
I
account-
fucking won. You know what I mean?
When
Like
you make the lottery example, you got to take into account the average person actually willing to play the lottery in the first place is also the kind of person who's impulsive enough to play the fucking lottery.
of course, yes, that's what I mean. That because if you're not impulsive enough to play the lottery, you're not winning that money on the lottery.
No, but you're not going to keep that money. So like they basically, I bet you it's like
Yes.
the house always wins. I bet it's like the house always wins, and they go, look, even when we put all the money out there, we know it's just going into the
comes
local
back.
economy.
No, that's
we know it's just
that's very documented.
Yeah. And then all the I mean, like every bit of money ends up in a fucking bank's pocket,
Yeah.
and then comes back up through, and then funnels its way back down again.
like water.
Where's the buck stop? It doesn't.
Like water.
That's the whole idea. like the water cycle.
Except
Are
that's
you-
not. Yeah, like the water cycle. Except that's not true because rich people hoard it. So you know.
Well, because it
yeah.
eventually ends up in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
then
where your
stays
money
there
eventually
and, you
goes.
know,
But
and
it's not
then
even like real
it's
money.
interest.
Or it ends up in
it doesn't
Bitcoin
exist.
now.
Yeah.
Now it becomes just numbers on a screen. It becomes ones and zeros in a fucking blockchain.
Fuck it, whatever. As soon as we started using cards instead of carrying cash anyway, that's all that was supposed to happen.
I don't. Yeah. So.
But yes, the point is that like rich people
I'm sorry. Back to your point.
feel like they earned
They
their
earned
money.
it.
And,
Most of
and
them-
maybe
in
a
a lot
lot
of
them
cases they
and-
did.
Yeah, of course, but
and in a lot of cases they didn't.
yeah.
Like people who have been perpetually rich
But
their
the point
entire
is, if
life.
you feel like you earned it, you don't generally. When I say you, I don't mean you. You know, I mean people. You know,
Right.
generally, if you feel like you earned it, you're not going to feel bad for people who didn't because you fucking worked harder. Whether that's true or not.
Well, what is working hard? What is that?
Nothing. It
people
doesn't mean anything.
No, there
Yeah.
are people who work in an office get
Yeah.
angry at blue collar workers who talk about backbreaking work. And
Yeah.
you know what?
No,
they're
yeah.
like, work is hard regardless. Okay, work is hard regardless. And like, I'm so tired of the classes trying to make it so that people who work in an office don't work hard. Okay, it takes a mental toll on you being trapped in an office. You know, it fucking does. But you don't actually trade your spine. You only
Correct.
trade your waistline.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
which
had
then
both.
it ends up eventually trading your fucking spine. That's on you.
Yes, yeah. I will say
fucking
I've
Joe
had both.
Joe Blow crane operator is also a fat fuck. So fucking do
it's fucking-
something
yeah,
already.
yeah. I will say I've had both office and physical labor jobs. I tend to enjoy physical labor jobs better, but that's only because I hate working out, but I
There's
like
a certain
doing
level.
stuff.
There's a
You know
certain
what I
level
mean?
of physical labor throughout an 8-hour shift that's just
That
too
makes you-
much. It's like
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
no,
enough.
don't get me wrong. I'm
It's-
not saying it's easier to be physical,
But it's
you know,
like
than
it's
it
not
is-
enough
yeah.
to be in shape.
Yes.
But it's also tolling enough to prevent you from getting in shape.
Yeah, that's true.
There's an
That
exist.
is true.
There's an existing like level where it's just like it takes too much away from you.
It takes too much work over that time that by the time you get home, you're dead tired.
It's just not going to work.
But it's
also, it wasn't
not enough
enough.
physical labor to actually get you in shape.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then of course all the choices that go into it. And it's
Yeah.
like how
I like physical jobs better because I like being up and moving around. But now I got office jobs, so whatever. whatever. I'm not saying office jobs are hard. I mean, well, every job is hard in its own fucking way. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. The
No,
point
that's
is,
true, but I'm just saying that, like the fact that you could even get people to argue about who's like more worthy of getting to say
Yeah.
that their job is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And like some people you think
it's
some
just-
people's jobs you think
Everybody thinks their job is hard.
yes, and then there are also people who are just like they show up and they go whatever, dude, I'm gonna fucking whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's kind of how I am.
well, like
It's
some
whatever,
like a
just doing
pot.
this thing.
Look, I envy the pothead who can go stoned to like work at McDonald's
Yeah.
and they're not even the least bit affected by the amount of customer base they have to see that day.
Sure.
Like the idea, like I couldn't. It's one of those things where you talk about people who they get mad about the $15 minimum wage thing.
Yeah.
I get like the economic debate about
Sure.
it.
That-
Fine, whatever.
Realistic, but whatever.
On paper,
Well, no, I mean it's realistic to
time
argue about
frame.
the economic
Yes.
issue of that.
there's
But
probably a time frame that ends up making it seem unrealistic to worry about now. Like being like, oh, like what's the actual inflation rate of doing it?
Yeah,
Like how
yeah, sure.
long?
Mhm.
And then whatever. Maybe you put some fucking like rent caps around. Maybe you stop telling landlords they can charge whatever the fuck they want, and like they start charging a reasonable amount. But
there
whatever.
are other, yeah, there
Look.
are other ways to do things. Yes, for sure.
All I'm trying to say is the I am making the understanding that I understand my own personality enough that I couldn't handle that many people upset about French fries.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it
yeah.
because it's French fries. It's like that.
Fuck.
It's like that scene in. It's like that scene in American Beauty
Mhm.
when the two of them are finally about to get back together, like Kevin Spacey and
Yeah, yeah.
what's the lady's name?
Oh, I can't.
Well,
remember. It's been so long. Yeah.
They're about to get back together. They're finally having a moment where they're like kissing on each other and they're kind of cuddling up on a couch. And Kevin Spacey's getting up on her and he's got a beer in his hand. It's just a bottle of beer. And he's up on her and the beer bottle starts tilting over and she twists her head over a little bit and she's getting kissed on the neck and she notices the beer bottle's about to spill on the couch. And she says, "You're going to spill on the couch." And it stops him dead in his tracks.
Yeah.
And he says, and he fucking freaks out and he just goes, "It's just a couch!" Because she cares more about the stuff than she does about the thing. It's
Sure.
just French fries. If you're mad
French
about your
fries.
what's wrong with them? What's wrong? You're not salty enough? You don't need any more salt. You're clearly caked up with it. Your brain is not operating properly. What about the part where you're mad about French fries and not salt?
I didn't get enough ketchup.
Fucking bring more in your car. You know you want ketchup and you know you eat it out often enough. Why do you not have a bottle that you got to spank the bottom of every time you shift into fourth?
I asked for mayo.
I can't do it, Alex.
No, yes,
I'm
well,
making.
yeah, no, I
I'm
agree.
letting you know
I
that
agree.
I couldn't
Because
I would
am-
be fired because I could only be beat down so much. I would actually probably quit. I would probably hold my tongue
Yeah,
for like
you would
3
quit.
weeks and then
Yeah.
I would quit.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it, and I have the like desire to want to make ends meet, and like if I was put in a position that I had to. And the other thing is, they wouldn't even hire me. They
No,
wouldn't
they
hire me
wouldn't
because
hire
they would know already that
Yeah.
they couldn't.
Yeah, they would
They
just
would
look
know
at
that
you.
you wouldn't drone.
Yeah, they're just like,
And
yeah,
they
you
expect
can't.
you. They
You
expect
literally
to drone.
don't have the qualifications for this job.
I envy the pothead who can go to that job.
Doesn't have to be a pothead, by the way.
No,
but that is
because- this
the
is why I say that.
romanticization of the situation. Yeah.
The reason I'm saying pothead is because they're numbing themselves and going potentially making it a little bit more fun. So they're not taking it very seriously.
I
not.
No, I understand.
But I'm not using it in a negative sense. I'm actually saying it's a positive because at least you're making the best of the thing.
Of the situation.
But like,
you can.
imagine being
No,
like,
seriously,
you don't numb yourself to that job.
If you're working at McDonald's and you're not smoking pot, what the fuck are you doing?
Or like having a drink,
What the fuck?
like
Yeah.
make it, you know, fucking.
Yeah.
If you're not like handling some lean in the back counter, you know what I'm saying? Like, get to going on all that because it doesn't get better. The best you can do is
doesn't get
become
better from here.
No, like at that job. Like
Yeah,
you can't
no,
get better
I
at that job.
Yes.
You can get better in other places. You can change jobs and use that on your resume. But otherwise, you just go
Change franchises.
Look,
It'd be a better situation.
it's become supervisor.
Yeah.
It becomes fat white supervisor who looks like a fucking slave driver.
Yeah.
Because that's just how that shit ends up looking at a goddamn fast food
Who
restaurant.
probably has some kind of sexual harassment charges in his past.
Yeah. And then from there it's, oh well, I actually supervise 5 different franchises in the area, and you're like, that's the best it looks.
Yeah.
That's as good as it ended up looking.
You're a fucking mogul there, bro.
Like,
You're
just
a fucking
dude,
mogul.
just sell Verizon, like, because
Yeah.
you make more money more quickly.
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just as terrible.
Just sell Verizon.
It's just as. I mean, look, you look in the parking lot of a
I don't
Verizon
disagree.
store.
Yeah.
You look in the parking lot of a Verizon store, and you
there's
know
3
that the
cars.
people in there get way better commission than you do being the. And you don't make commission being a fucking burger slinger. But I'm just saying.
And there's also not as many customers.
I'm saying that you don't. Even though a minute ago I was yelling about how it's a bit absurd that office workers get like angry that a blue collar like on the lifting concrete and shit guy complaining about like his back issues and like saying that his job is hard, even though I'm making and I'm saying, hey, fucking office work isn't that hard. At the same time, I'm immediately like destroying that.
Yeah,
by saying,
because you're saying it's the
no, but
people
a burger
interaction that's
slinger-
the fucking problem.
Right, but in the office, you only interact with the people there, so it's like going to high school,
depends
and
on
nobody
the
paid
office.
me to do
It
that.
depends on the office.
It's all of them.
You might have a lot of customer interactions in an office.
Almost no job that you can get unless it's like all college educated people to actually work there is beyond a high school experience.
Oh yeah,
It just is
100%.
not.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
high school is actually
It's
about
most
as close
people's
to reality
lives.
as you will ever get.
It's most people's real lives, and they've never grown up from that. Ever.
Because they don't.
Ever.
Because
Ever.
they don't. There's
Never
no reason
happened.
to.
Yep.
There's no incentive. Because if all of the jobs that are available only have that requirement, there's no incentive to do better.
Correct. So you just
The only incentive is, does this job make me have more money?
Yeah. And more money's great. Take more money.
I have something that I want to share with you. I came up with an idea. Unless you got a thing. Do you have anything?
I mean, I have other things, but go ahead.
All right, here's my thing. All right, so I don't know. I
Better
had
be
this
a poem.
It's not a poem. I had this idea earlier, and it was like I had an idea for like a sci-fi novel.
Ooh, I like it.
I have 2 ideas for sci-fi things.
Okay.
All right, but I'm gonna start with this one.
All right.
And the idea is something like it's kind of eugenicsy.
Spell it. No, get.
EUGENICS. E.
Yeah. Why?
Well, look, okay, so I had this whole idea because like it seemed as if it made sense when I was thinking about it. And
It
it's not-
usually does.
I'm not in favor of the thing that I'm going to share, but it's like it's more of
That's a good way to get it out there.
it's more of like if there was this terrible future that we were all heading towards or something.
Okay.
And like it was based on the idea of like what you can convince people is ethical. Like how you can do the whole basis is doing mental gymnastics to the point of convincing people that it's ethical. Your decision making is of an ethical pursuit.
Brave New World style. You know,
Right.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
so this is just called ethical reproduction.
Ooh.
So what we do in the future is we have an elected child rearing center of like of wise people who have not replicated. And the way that you end up like getting onto the child rearing board is to be a non-replicator of a particular standard.
Okay.
So what you do is so what this board does is they ethically raise your single reproduction for you. And also they organize your mandatory suicide. So what we do in the future is we actually do 2-for-1 reproduction. So
2 people die for 1 person to be born.
we organize you birthing a child.
Okay.
We then take care of the child that you have birthed and then organize you and your spouse's suicide
Okay.
so as to lower the population.
I see.
And we also
keep-
choose for your
keep
breeding.
continuing it on. Yeah.
Right. So there's but so you have to like sign up for breeding.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And this is all in the name of ethics
Bury
because
the
of carbon
lobster.
footprint. we was something along the lines of like carbon footprint
Yeah.
or
No,
you know,
I
whatever
get it, yeah.
fucking ethical reason you can come up for. There's
too many people for the earth to handle.
Right,
Whatever.
right. So
Yeah.
your impact on
China.
others, your impact on others,
You're talking about China.
once you have been replaced by your genetic material, is unethical. The fact that you would be taking because a legacy, and also we make it so that there's particular rules. So passing on your genes comes at a cost to the state. Okay, it is unethical to exist once you've been replaced by your genetic material. The future depends on your compliance. It is a drain on resources to exist. It is selfish to be reproduced and continue to live. If you choose not to comply with this social norm, like the age of, like if you choose not to get partnered up and have you know, and you know, out of fear of the suicide or whatever, at the age of like 50, you're exiled to a location where you're forgotten. Like you are written off.
Yeah.
Because anything that you do like as part of the society is like kept in a database by the state that controls, you know,
By society itself.
Right. So any impact that you have on society can be shared and you can be remembered, but only if you elect to be killed. So you have to reproduce in order to be remembered.
So in order to live
or else you are
forever-
forgotten.
Yeah.
And also you have to I haven't figured out how it is exactly that you end up on the fucking board, but it doesn't matter. This is just a fucking summary of like an
I mean,
idea.
there's always some back alley bullshit.
This is like
going on.
500-page novel here that would really flush all of this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Probably more,
So at like age 50, you're exiled to a location you'll be forgotten. Society chooses that any legacy going to be passed on has to be remembered by your offspring. So your offspring only ever speaks well of you and your accomplishments, but they get told an edited version of what you did by the state. So they edit, of course, you know, and it's all two for one reproduction until we finally reach the outcome,
stasis,
the homeostasis of existence that it is that we're looking for the Earth, which is, you know, clearly not. So that's my 1980s sci-fi novel. That's
I mean, it's
have.
already been written, but yeah.
Who
it's
wrote
great.
it?
I mean, there's a bunch of them. I'm thinking like.
Well, no, I know that
yeah.
I know that it definitely.
Yes,
I know that
mean,
it goes
nothing
alongside plenty of things.
exactly
Well,
to
it's
that,
close
but
to
there's so
Logan's
many.
Run.
It's very
like,
close
there's
to
things
Logan's
like
Run.
that,
It's
but there's
close
not
to
the
Brave New World. It's close. There's a couple.
But there's
you know
not
what I
like
mean?
explicitly.
Usually, they're it's computers telling people to do that.
No computers.
But,
This
no,
is people. So it's
just
more like
saying.
tribal. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn,
Closer to that.
like where
yeah.
they got, you know, they've got their tribes and shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And then, you know, there's all these different.
They'd also be too dumb to realize that we have too many people. But
They
yes, I know what you
explore-
mean. I
The
know
whole
what
idea being that you get to explore, and I understand that it's not entirely original because, like, it's directly along the lines of like eugenics and all these other things. But it seemed like the kind of thing that, like, it's based off the idea that you can, through whatever mental gymnastics, if you can convince people that what they're doing is actually for the greater good,
they'll do it.
that's all I was getting at.
Yeah.
So it's based on that, and I actually like it a lot. I think that
That's
I
a great
may.
idea. Yeah.
I think that if everything else goes terribly in my life and I can't.
You'll write this novel.
Yeah, I'll write this novel. I'll keep that in my back pocket. I have another one.
I think you should just write it anyway. but-
Well, it sound pretty good. There's some interesting things in there. Definitely some stuff that needs to be fleshed out and would take a lot of time and real effort.
Of course.
I can already
Yeah.
I already thought of more stuff than what's on here. But here's my second sci-fi novel.
Okay.
But it's not a sci-fi novel. It's a 1980s movie, sci-fi original. This is one where so this is how this one works.
All right.
The way that this plays out is women have all gone lesbian,
All.
and they are the hierarch.
Okay. So it's a
Okay.
matriarchal society.
It's a matriarchal society
Yeah.
where here's how this plays
You're
out.
really
Please-
focused on procreation.
Listen.
Seems.
Yeah, well, this one I thought of like a month ago, and I've only just kind of like remembered to bring it up to you now. So, women, because we found out. All right, so this is actually based on some truth of a thing where it was that women could reproduce without men, like currently, like through like a cloning process,
Sure.
but they can only reproduce more women.
Yes.
So all sex is now lesbianism.
That's
like
Stingray Sam. I already.
is Stingray Sam basically this?
Yeah, except it's men, but yeah.
Oh, men do that? Okay, but look, all right, check me out, all right?
Okay,
Here we go.
yeah.
Look, I know what I'm about to tell you is not 100% original. But I
Okay,
also
no, I know
don't
that.
know where the source of all the different things came from other than little tidbits in here.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
So
I
I don't
mean,
know what
every
it is.
idea is.
But I'm telling you, I don't know directly what
doesn't
things
come
it's
from a
going to
vacuum.
parallel. And if there's a book that exists that's better than what I'm about to say, then write it in the fucking comments, okay? But here's what I got. Whole society goes
Uh huh.
in a. What are you fucking checking your
Don't
phone
worry.
right
No,
now?
I'm not checking my phone. I'm gonna pull something up.
the world goes into like this. What it is, they're hunting down every last man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and because no women will be with men anymore because they don't need them. They just do lesbian, which is like, this is almost like a Rick and Morty episode or some shit. But the men have all gone to homosexuality as well. That's how they do things. So there's just these underground,
not by choice, but by necessity.
Yeah, it's like prison gay, but then also like
it's like prison.
It's like prison gay, but it's also like
it's also it's
become
above
societal.
people.
It's become so societally normal. Like just through, let's say that we just ran the experiment, and because enough generations had passed, where that was normal.
Yeah.
I don't know how more men are existing, but it's to every last man.
Yeah.
We're not saying generations. Let's say
We're not saying generations.
Let's say that on occasion
they're all 60 years old men.
Yeah, that's actually it's even better. It's even better if it's a lemon party.
Yeah,
and they're just hunting down like every last man.
Yeah.
So the women are they're like Terminators, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and they're very like they don't have a whole lot of emotion or whatever. Or maybe they do and be better, because I've seen the non-emotion thing too many times. Maybe it's better if they have lots of emotion.
I'm imagining, any shitty B movie that has Nazi women, big blonde, just fucking.
No, because it's supposed to be kind of like an 80s spoof movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
That's
it's
what I'm
kind of
imagining.
taking the piss. It's not too serious,
course.
but it's also really gory and shit. Okay, so because of like mutations, occasionally an X splits into a Y somehow.
Occasionally, yeah.
So even through the cloning process, occasionally men are created. And those are immediately disposed of, like in The Giver.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. No, exactly. Nature finds a way.
Finds a way. Yeah.
So they're immediately disposed of, except for there's like some secret society of women like who try to save as many of the male babies because they don't 100% believe in this thing, even though they love plastic rods being shoved up their vaginas.
Yeah.
So they're totally into the sex, but not necessarily into the sex killing. So so we're hunting down every last male, and it's just like, fucking like Brian and Ryan, fucking like the last two guys or some shit. And
65.
I don't know. I just thought it would be crazy. Like
they're a solid 65 though. They're like in shape.
I wanted to, but I figured that they take steroids.
They're gray, but they look good.
Yeah. It's the silver foxes, right? So they're every fucking photo is like with the shirt up.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Fucking grinder, man. So so they I just thought it would be crazy if you just thought of all of the Tumblr arguments of life and you like shoved that into a movie, and you made it, but you made it so like that they're right. Like you make it like you write it in such a way where that's actually all correct, and it doesn't sound crazy in the movie. It just sounds like that's the way that society went, and it was justified.
Lobster, like I brought that up, like similar to that.
Yeah.
I mean, more gory and B movie than The Lobster was. But
and also the men don't survive in this movie. Like at the end, they actually get killed. Like they get finished off.
I mean, you don't need them.
In that world, they don't.
Yeah,
but wouldn't it be great? Like, because sci-fi a lot of times does kind of end in like in a pretty negative way.
Yeah, of course.
Like, what's that one? Like,
I mean, that's
so
here's what would happen if the worst happened.
It's a dystopia, but like they actually managed to like somewhere in the movie there's like a woman who helps them out, and there's like, I have never seen a woman. We've been underground for so long, and he's like, and the guy's like, I don't actually know if I'm gay. I don't know if I'm a homosexual. I've been around men for so long. I don't know if that's actually true.
It's just what society grew out of me.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Have you ever seen Children of Men?
No.
Oh man, you should see that movie. It's a great fucking movie. I mean, that's like a dystopia sci-fi, but it's humanity can't have babies anymore. Like just everybody's barren for some reason that doesn't really explain why. But one woman they find out is pregnant, so the whole movie is like them trying to like make her survive so that she can have a child, and we could figure out like why. You know what I mean? That kind of shit is happening, but that also kind of reminded me of that. But what else reminded me of what you were talking about was, as I mentioned, Stingray Sam, which I need to see. One of my favorites, Corey Maccabee. I'll talk about him at some point. Maybe next episode I'll fucking do a whole breakdown. But I only want to put this because he has a movie. It's actually a 60-minute, 6-episode like show made into a movie, so it's like an hour-long movie called Stingray Sam. But one of the premises of it is that there's mostly only men because we started cloning because for rich people, it was better to have a man because that's who you would pass on all your belongings to. You wouldn't pass it down to women. You would have a man. So they started cloning, but cloning wasn't great because it started kind of fucking things up, and you'd have some weird babies and things like that. So then doctor found out a way to have two men make a baby together, like not sexually obviously, but like, through some kind of process, take the DNA of two men, and then he
you can't share anything from YouTube. You're not going to be able to play that on here.
Why not? We
Because-
can if we talk over it.
No, you can't play songs and stuff from YouTube.
You
because
can if you talk about it.
No,
If you talk over it.
No, it's there's a thing.
I have seen it. You can, as long as you are actually actively talking about it, and it's not the song itself.
Okay.
That you can, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, look up the Fredward song by Stingray Sam.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's fucking good. Because it's literally, all these men that have babies, they just mash their fucking names
But that's
together.
not from Stingray Sam. That's in The Astronaut, right?
No, that's Stingray Sam.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also another one, The American Astronaut.
I thought in
that's
that
my
movie
favorite,
that they had that song, so I've always made that mistake.
Nope, that's from Stingray Sam. But, anyways.
Yeah.
You are allowed to play songs if you are actually actively commenting over it, because that gives you the leeway of, like, that's how you can get away with playing clips from movies and things like that when you are, like, on, like your red letter medias, if you're actively commenting it, so they can't steal those clips and use them on their own, as long as you're actively talking over it and doing, whatever, you're allowed to do those things. But,
Okay. So you can't just like sit back and listen to it.
correct.
All
Yes,
right,
because
all right.
then you're hosting it, yourself. You know what I mean? So,
Okay. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. It's too late now.
Too right.
He's ruined the moment. Just before we finish, how long have we been going? Are we going long enough? It's almost time to.
Yeah, I mean, we could cut this one kind of short if you want.
Well, no, we don't have to. I just
We
wanted to
really gotten the energy out there.
because you specifically mentioned, writing a book and a movie, and it reminded me of something very dumb.
Okay.
And I just want to bring this up because these are my two genius ideas from when I was a late teenager, early 20-year-old.
Okay.
And I want your opinion of them.
Okay.
They wouldn't work now.
Have they been, like,
but
done?
maybe 10 years ago they would have.
Okay.
The point is, so actually, another thing that reminded me is we were talking, not on the podcast, but we were talking last week about that shitty prank show that you were talking about.
The prank, the
Like the
practical jokers,
practical jokers,
impractical,
which-
impractical jokers.
Which dumb, whatever. The point is that my one thought for a decent reality show.
Okay.
So we don't do this anymore, but let's say you go into a public restroom. What do you usually see in a public restroom?
Dirty toilet.
Dirty toilet. Next thing.
Writing on the wall.
That's number 2, and I'll come back to that.
We're playing
What's-
a game of pyramid.
What's a very specific thing, including the writing on the wall?
Well, I think that you're trying to go in the direction of glory hole, but those.
No,
aren't
no,
there.
no. I'm not going in the
Okay,
direction
those
of glory hole.
because those aren't really there.
But
that much.
glory holes aren't really there that often. If you go to the bathroom, you don't often see a glory hole, as much as media likes to tell you.
Actually, I don't think I've ever.
I don't think I've ever seen one. But that,
toilet paper.
during the graffiti, often there will be a phone number.
Okay.
Often.
Okay.
Not as much nowadays, but 10 years ago, 100%. You know what I mean?
Well, if I were to go out and try and take a sample of public bathrooms, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, good. But my point is the only good idea for a reality TV show I ever had was go around to public bathrooms and call those numbers and see what fuck happens.
And just have that be the whole
And then
show.
just have that be the whole show. Yeah, you know what I mean? Or to be like, call Janice for a good time. You know what I mean? And like, and just do that. You know what I mean?
You actually just reminded me of so there was back when I used to work in the mill buildings.
Uh-huh.
So I used to have my business in a studio building where they had multiple like art studios, and you could do whatever you wanted in them, but you were in a part of a community of people who all had a business in something
Of some kind or other. Yeah,
just
artistic usually.
right,
Yeah.
of an aged building, and it worked out pretty good. But so there was like a billboard here and a bulletin board there, and you could put up a flyer. And there was somebody put up a flyer that said something about like, ask me about my somethings and my tampon blowies. That's what it said. Like it says, ask me about my something gross and then tampon blowies. I remember that specifically.
Ask me about my Blumpkins and my tampon blowies.
It's pretty close that. Yeah, and then it was like a stupid picture and whatever, and then it had a phone number on it, and this flyer had been put up, and I'm like, okay, this is a place of business. Like, I find this disrespectful to the fact that there's lots of people who are trying to be legitimate.
Right, yeah.
And at the same time, I'm
like
like,
a little girl's
but at the
dance
same
studio.
time, I'm like, this is kind of
I want to call that number.
So I did.
Oh, hell yeah.
I did call that number.
And?
Because I figured that the number was somehow tied to the people who made the flyer.
Yeah, like a business or something, and it was like some kind of viral marketing kind of idea.
Actually, that's way too smart for the flyer, Alex, because...
I believe it now, because
no.
you wouldn't be talking about it.
No, it didn't work out that way. It was some kid picks up the phone, and their name is like Jeremy or something like that, because the flyer said to call Jeremy or whatever, and I just go, hey, Jeremy, I don't know if you find this to be funny or not, but your phone number is on a flyer that says something about ask you about this and your tampon blowies. And I just thought that if that wasn't something that you had wanted on a flyer, maybe you'd like to know that your number was here.
You ought to know by now.
And if your friends think it's really funny, maybe you should tell them that it ain't.
And maybe you should get new friends.
And then that was pretty much the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
And,
I would assume that would basically be...
And then he laughed because he didn't actually know, because his friend's playing a prank on their friend.
Yeah.
But also, nobody's going to call that number.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, oh my God, the amount of people who go buy something every day and do nothing. The amount of people who do nothing to change their surroundings.
Yep.
The fact that so many people in that building saw that shit. The amount of people who didn't have an Allen wrench key to keep the door unlocked for the longest period of time, and nobody went to the store to buy one. Nobody fucking found one and made sure that it was always accessible. And it's like, how much extra time out of your life does it take to tear down these fucking flyers or to take shit down that makes this whole place look bad? You just go, somebody else is gonna fucking do it. I remember one time the fucking bathroom in the upstairs, started leaking. The 5th floor started leaking down into the 4th floor, then down into the 3rd, and it only stopped at the 3rd because there was a concrete sheeting that caused it to float out into the fucking hallway, and then it eventually stopped because it was getting absorbed.
Yeah.
I go upstairs to see what the fuck is going on there with the bathroom that's overflowing, and there's 2 people just kind of like looking at it. Like, just no idea what to do about the fact that there's water running everywhere.
Something, motherfucker.
No, they're like, they're just doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's like there are mops in closets all around this place. There's toilet paper like crazy right there, which I started tearing out toilet paper and paper towels and just throwing it on the floor to do something.
Something, anything, absorb.
Do you know what the 2 people who were in that bathroom did?
No.
They left!
I believe that.
They left when they saw that I was taking care of it.
Yep. Oh, you
but
did
they
it. Yeah, you're good.
Did you just leave?
Yeah.
I don't even work here.
Doesn't matter. You're doing a thing. You're taking over, bud. Stink buggy.
What do you see? What do you see? You see a grocery cart. You can't park in that spot.
Yeah, you don't get out and move the fucking grocery cart.
You don't stop your car and go, well, let me move that. I was going into the fucking grocery store, and I saw one was in my spot that I wanted. I just wanted that spot.
Yeah.
So you know what I fucking did?
Halfway parked.
I made that
Moved the
spot
thing.
mine.
Yeah.
Moved the thing.
And then fully parked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on my walk to get to the grocery store, saw another cart just
Grab
in
that
a parking spot. And I picked that shit up like a fucking Hulk and threw it into the return.
I mean, you could have.
Overhead.
You could have just pushed it.
No.
I know you couldn't.
I
agree. I'm the same way. I will absolutely just grab a cart and be like, it's right fucking here.
You want to talk about
Just put it there.
Complacency?
Put it there.
Like it's one of those like totally like lame, forgotten kind of things that's said in the fucking Boondock Saints. By the way,
Awesome.
The beginning of the Boondock Saints
Movie or
the movie?
Yeah.
Is somebody's dead. They're at a funeral. No, it's just church. It's just church, whatever, right? And the guy's talking about how there's terrible things going on in the neighborhood, and then like just the forgotten. It's just a forgotten line that goes, oh, like forget it, right? Like just it's
just another thing.
It's just a cliche. It's just whatever. But the priest says, the indifference of good men He's like, that's one of the biggest evils is the indifference of good men.
Yeah,
People who didn't call the police when there's a woman being stabbed in the street. It's like, well, we don't want the cops nosing around here. We'd rather have her be dead. Not like they're going to do anything specifically about, oh, there's a stink bug on it.
It was. You fucking ripped the paper out.
Anyways, that's all I got, man. I'm fucking done.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
And I'm all worked up. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. Well, because I
close
completely fucking agree, and it's just like the least amount of fucking energy it takes. It often takes more energy to be shitty than to just be fine, and I feel like people don't understand that.
It's like an equal amount.
Not always.
How much extra are you expending by tearing down a flyer that is affecting all of us?
Well, no, I know.
It's making all of us look bad.
What I'm saying is, like, often not doing anything is more energy, because then you see it every day, and that little twinge that gets it, that little thing, or you ignore it every day, and I feel like it often takes more energy out of you to do nothing than to do the tiniest fucking bit of work to walk the cart back to the fucking holster, whatever the corral, whatever it is. Just put it back. Put it back. Put it where it goes. You're not even bringing it back to the fucking store. It's there for you to not have to bring it back.
What's that psychological study about, like that's like the mob effect or something like that, where they
basically. I mean,
they talk about
it's
how
the reason why when you
everybody-
were fixing the bathroom, everybody else left because
Everybody's-
he's got it taken care of.
everybody says somebody else is going to do it.
Yeah,
They fucking aren't.
nobody's gonna do it. I will finish this up just with the fact that
Sure.
I
Maybe something
already-
more positive.
hopefully a little bit. So my initial idea was we make a TV show and we call the numbers in bathroom stalls.
I like
And yeah, I like it too, because it's also not like we don't call Janice because she deep throats good. We call Janice because we want to know who's on the other line. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what it says on the bathroom stall. But you call Janice because it's just like, how you doing? How many phone calls have you gotten from this number?
You call her
and
like
you do a
Chris
fucking
Hansen.
interview show. You know what I mean?
You call her like Chris Hansen. Yeah, so we got your number up.
Yeah,
the
we got
bathroom
your
stall.
number up
We just
here.
want to know how you doing.
We want to know what's going on. Would you like to meet? Would you like to blah blah? So I think that could have been fun. It would have been better 10 years ago. The other thing that I wanted, and it is very much linked, because this idea came to me when I was in a bathroom, a public bathroom, and there was a poem on the wall. The poem said, "Cover your balls, don't sit on the seat. The crabs in this place can jump 8 feet." Great. I still remember the poem to this day. This was forever ago that I fucking read it. I still remember it. Because great. I'm sure the person that wrote it there didn't come up with it. I'm sure they saw it somewhere else. But what it made me want to do is make one of those big fucking picture books. You know what I mean? Like that you put on a coffee table that's like fucking that big with beautiful photo pages. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to go cross country and take photos of the best graffiti on bathroom stalls and fill a book with that shit. And just call it bathroom stall poetry or something. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be just poetry. You know what I mean? Fucking murals that people draw on that shit. You know what I mean? Like when you were in high school, like, oh, I don't know whose initials AJGR from 20 blah, blah, blah. But, like they're everywhere, and they've got they've got the Godsmack son, you know what I mean? Like around every single, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, I wanted to make one of those big fuck books with a giant, beautiful photo paper and just bathroom stalls, like, you know what I mean, with just like weird messages and blah blah, like it I know they often say perverted and disgusting things, but like there's something gorgeous.
That works today. If you've been into a bookstore lately, you know that it's it's all bottom of the barrel nonsense.
Yeah,
the self-help book section is pretty much all titles that go with "Get your fucking life together, sweetie," and it'll be like "We'll help," or it'll be like, but they'll blur about like fucking, and it'll be like every title in the self-help. It's like by Dr. Rosa Sanders, and you're like, Jesus, Dr. Rosa Sanders, like. Did you really have to let the production company here like tell you
Yes,
how
she
the
did.
title's going to be?
Apparently.
I bet you there's nothing even in there of any real value.
But anyway, I just want to go cross country and take pictures
I like
of
it.
bathroom stalls
I really
and make it into a big fucking book and call it bathroom stall
I would buy
poetry.
that book.
Me too. Keep it on a coffee table.
Well, let's bring it to a close then. Thank you for joining us today. And if you listened through the whole thing, fuck yeah. Write us, please, at marklarsmarklarmusic@gmail.com. That's marklarsmarklarmusic@gmail.com. MarklarsMarklar.
Look up everything Corey McAbee's ever done.
You won't be doing yourself a disservice.
I promise.
And here comes Cassandra. Have a good night.
Bye.